Good evening.
How's it going?
It's going great. Welcome to another episode of Supernatural Talk. As you guys know, Jeremy will not be hosting now for the next couple weeks because of his recovery from his recent surgery. So until then, you're just gonna have to deal. You guys will just have to deal with me and Adrian for the next couple weeks. So,
You make it sound like it's a bad thing.
no.
What's that wording there, boy? Just a little update. Jeremy is doing okay. He's doing fine. He called me last night.
Told me as well.
Yeah, I know. You were called first. But no, he's doing okay. It went a lot faster than expected. He's, as far as I know, in less pain than most of his other surgeries. I haven't heard today, but couple of months. No, you will not. You say that every time, and no, you are not. But okay, so he's feeling good. Ernie, I wanted to ask you about Greg.
Yeah. We talked to him, called him this evening when I got home from work, and he's doing about as you would expect someone that's just had a collapsed lung. And, he's in the hospital, got a chest tube in and some pain from that. And, but he's in good spirits, and he's just anxious to get out of there so that he can get a cigarette and get back to normal life.
That helps that collapsed lung.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now they told him he needs to quit smoking, and he said, maybe this is a wake up call I needed. He's going to work on that. So
good.
But,
I'm going through my friends list tomorrow. I'm off. I am not seeing the posts of the people that are important. I'm not seeing any of this stuff. I'm seeing garbage, and then I have no clue what's going on with people that actually matter and that I actually know. So no, we're done. We're gonna. I don't care if I end up with 500 when I'm done. We're done with this.
I go through and unfollow 5 or 6 people a day because I see posts from people that I have no clue who they are. Honestly, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but
right,
like you said, you miss posts from people that you are close to, because you're seeing some random person post a picture of their cat or something.
Yeah, and I don't even mind that so much as this religion, this politics is getting so out of hand that you don't even want to open Facebook anymore. And it's like,
yeah, I know. It's just constant, like crazy.
We have control of this. We have control. We can click goodbye. That's it. It's over. We don't need to put up with it.
Exactly.
We don't need to argue. I mean, I can scroll past a post that I don't agree with. It's fine. I don't have to have my 2 cents.
Never, Rob.
Hey,
I'm a cult leader. That's bad. You know that.
Scott, isn't it late out in Scotland right now for you?
Oh gosh, look what Denise said. He's mad. He asked for a Coke and they bought him a Diet Shasta. Oh no.
Yeah, poor Steph, man. That was the maddest comment he had about his whole situation there at the hospital was that
I can understand.
Diet
Shasta, no. Completely different.
Yeah.
It's 1:15 a.m. here. Where are you at?
He lives in Scotland.
Okay.
I was just on his show just earlier this week. He does the show Paranormal and History. So I was just a guest on, and I'm going to be a guest again on his show about a month from now.
You're brave, Scott. Good luck. Okay, so since I'm not seeing anything and I'm completely in the dark, except I understand there's some new happenings. What is going on with your area there?
I was going to ask the same question because I want to hear the updates as well.
Well, we had Haunted Discoveries come to town, and they filmed here at our house. They filmed at Fort Duffield. They filmed at 2 other locations here in town. And got some amazing stuff. That's all I can say. You know, Brandon won't let me say a whole lot.
Right. Are you getting like I last I heard you had just moved in? Do you need your nose hairs plucked?
No, Denise is just being Denise.
So I know there was a couple of things happen when you first moved in, subtle things. Has it gotten more active since you've been there?
Oh, it's
you?
yeah, it's every day there's something. Yeah, Rob says the Ditto house is haunted.
The Ditto?
That's our home. He stayed right here in this room 2 weekends ago, and he had several things happen to him while he was here. He got some great EVPs, but no, I mean there's just always something going on here at the house. And the fort, same thing with the fort. I mean, every time we go up there for an event, or Denise and I just ride up there to check the place out, there's more activity. It just seems to be growing. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. We just can't get away from it. It's
So
everywhere.
They're okay with you guys. You're okay with them. There's
absolutely, yeah,
coexistence there.
Absolutely, yeah. We've, I mean, like, we don't have any small children.
Mm-hmm.
Got an 18-year-old son. That his bedroom is right through that door right there. But that's the youngest that we have. But we've got an entire room we call the children's room that we've got set up with toys and dolls and things of that nature for the children's spirits that are here, and there's a lot of them to play with.
I got to just say real quick, because since Kat Hobson's in the chat, Jeremy wanted me to give this quick announcement. For those of you who don't know, for the Actual Things Ghost Society, we have a new chapter. Kat Hobson will be running a chapter of her own for Things of Alabama, which is our first chapter in the Deep South. So just goes to show how much we're really growing. So it's amazing. So once again, Kat, welcome to the team. It's great to have you on board with us. So just wanted to throw that out real quick. Jeremy was saying while I was there, Ernie and I were chasing something outside his house. And when we were at the fort, Denise was chasing something deep in the woods.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. I know it takes years. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's going to be amazing to put that story together like you did at Waverly. Put it together as far as, you may know the history, which we don't, but you may know the history of the house. You may know, what it was before, what's been through there, what's on the land. Same with the fort. But to actually have them talk to you and tell you, this person's story, what happened here, that is the most amazing part of what we do.
Yeah.
And you need to close your mouth, because the last thing you said, sending love, my ass. You said to kick his butt.
Yeah. She's. I don't trust her.
Uh-oh. By the way, guess who just showed up in the chat?
We do miss you. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We do miss you, though.
We miss you. My room's still ready.
Yeah, right here, Eileen. We call this the murder room. This is your room,
That
Eileen.
sounds like the perfect room for her.
If there's not been a murder before, there will now.
Well, there has. So, yeah, we've uncovered some of the names of some of the folks who've passed through here and passed here, and we've been able to establish communication with some of them. So we're getting more and more pieces to the puzzle all the time here at the house. The fort's still a bit of a mystery to us because we're having such a wide variety of activity up there. I mean, we've had lots of Bigfoot activity up there that we were not expecting at all, but they found us. And, Yeah, Rob's right. Denise chases the living and the dead. She does that.
I
She's
saw the neatest thing on Bigfoot, which if I lived somewhere where they were, I can only go to the mountains, go camping. But I imagine they're here. I mean, Colorado, the mountains.
Oh yeah.
they're everywhere.
There's stores named,
Yep.
after Bigfoot and the different things. But the neatest thing I saw was a lady. I guess they're in her backyard, but she would first start with leaving an apple out, and it would disappear. Now, whether a squirrel took it, a raccoon took it, who knows? But it would disappear. So she started putting a camera there, and nothing ever definitive. But so she started like writing symbols, like she'll write a heart or she'll draw a Bigfoot or different things. And then at one point, she claims that she left a pen and pencil or pen and paper and drew her little thing, whatever message she was trying to get across. And she got markings back on that piece of paper. I thought that was just the neatest thing.
Yeah, they are, we're going to be speaking at the Indiana Bigfoot Conference coming up in September, which, this is Things Network, the Hoosiers. That's part of the name.
Yep.
We're going to be speaking at the Indiana Bigfoot Conference in September about our experiences as ghost hunters who were found by Bigfoot. And, I firmly believe they are definitely not this missing primate, this North American primate. They are far beyond that. They're interdimensional, spiritual beings, if you will. And we've had numerous encounters. Greg Yost, Squatchman, kind of opened our eyes to a different way of communicating with them or trying to communicate with them. And we have had some amazing encounters, is all I can say. But one of the things Squatchman does, he's got a gifting stump. He puts various things on the gifting stump. And, I've said it before. I don't know if I've said it on you guys' show or not, but one of the things that's amazing to me, he always brought them raspberry-filled Krispy Kreme donuts. And they would take the donuts. Well, one time we were going up there and we called Greg and said, "Hey, can you meet us at the forest?" And he's like, "Sure." And so he ran by Kroger real quick. He didn't have time to go to Krispy Kreme. He ran by Kroger real quick. They had the green donuts there, but all they had was assorted donuts. And there was one raspberry filled in there, but there were several that, were cream filled that, looked like they could be the raspberry filled. So we put the donuts out on the gifting stump. He, announces to the forest people, that's what he calls them, that, he's brought them a gift and, they're welcome to come and get them, and we'll come back and check the stump later. So we come back and check the stump later. The top of the box, the plastic cover on the top, has a slit across the top of it. There's one donut that's got this giant thumbprint in it, and it was a custard-filled donut. The only donut that was missing was the raspberry-filled.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it really is.
Raccoons or, any kind of forest animal, that box would have been ripped to shreds and everything would have been gone.
Yeah.
But no, just the one donut was gone.
I would love to hear somebody speak on that, simply because I have not ventured into that area. I'm doing good to venture into the spirit part of it, but it's really interesting. And the best explanation I've ever heard, the only one that makes sense to me, unless somebody has a different one, is that it's like, we talk about portals for spirits. There's got to be portals for those as well, because why do we not find dead bodies? Why do we not find babies that didn't make it like any other animal or whatever else.
Right.
It's got to be.
Well, more importantly, too, if you kind of look, again, like we were talking earlier, like everybody, when it comes to Bigfoot, everybody always focuses on either the Pacific Northwest or at times the South, when obviously, again, they're all over the place. But if you look at particularly like a lot of the southern types of Bigfoot, like skunk ape or whatever, there's also another unusual trait that makes them kind of almost otherworldly in a way. And it's sometimes their tracks. Like in the Pacific Northwest area, they have the classic 5-toes. In the South or in some other areas, yeah, they get them too, but there's other times where they're 4-toed or even 3-toed tracks. And there are no known primates, hominids, or apes, or humans, basically, you want to add it, that had or have ever had 3 or 4 toes. They've always been 5 toes.
Yep. And I saw where Jeremy said we should put a camera on the lifting stump. I firmly believe they can see IR. I firmly believe that they are aware if you're using a FLIR camera or if you're trying to use a trail camera or anything like that, because we've been out there when people have brought those devices and had absolutely nothing happen. Nothing. And then we go out there with just Denise, myself, Squatch Man, Todd and Leanne Eskew a lot of times will be with us and have just off the chain activity. We'll have trees pushed over. We'll have tree knocks. We'll have howls, sightings even. I think they are too smart to catch with a trail camera or any of those tricks of the trade that we use to document this stuff. Mm-hmm. We will ask, just like we communicate with them, just like we do spirits. We'll ask them if they mind if we take a photo. Mm-hmm. And we tell them, we'd really appreciate it if you'd like to be in this picture. And every now and then we'll get some images that we believe are legit.
Wow.
But I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. I know it sounds crazy. I was not a Bigfoot believer. I wasn't a denier, but I wasn't a Bigfoot believer until one found Denise and I in a cemetery one night when we were searching for Sarah's grave from Waverly.
The hell?
Wow.
I've not heard that. But
that is something brand new. I have never heard of that before.
Nope.
Nope,
I'm good.
Nick, she's going to send you a picture of that.
I'll send some.
Okay.
No, hell.
This I got to see.
It might take.
And
it might take her a minute to find it.
I'll send iShine too.
Yeah.
That's really interesting that they didn't, as large as they are, as much as we think of them as an ape or ape-minded, that they didn't just knock everything over like an ape would, or
They're gentle.
They're not apes. They're more spirits of the forest than anything else, in my opinion, and interdimensional. I mean, it's crazy. Like I say, I mean, I was not a Bigfoot believer, and we were in a cemetery 2:00 in the morning and had a Bigfoot come up on us. And we were like, we heard tree knocks first. And we were running an EVP at the time, and you can hear at the time, Denise said, "What the hell was that? I'm not about no squatch up in here." That's what she says on the recorder. And we laughed because, we weren't Bigfoot believers. And Crystal was there at the fort, and Rob said his squatch experience at Fort Duffield 2 weeks ago. We had a group of 20 people up there on a public event that all saw the same thing. We all saw eyes shine in the woods, and you could see for lack of a better way to put it, the cloaked figures of the Bigfoot. And we've seen that several times. Gosh, I mean, there's so much to say about this. I've seen them go from like a flesh and blood looking classic Patterson Gimlin footage Bigfoot, right? To this thing that looks like Predator in the movie Predator. It's just this mirrory image running through the woods. And Saturday night 2 weeks ago, Crystal Blevins, Rob was there. Like I say, there were a total of 20 of us standing there at the edge of the woods. We were seeing eyes shine down in the woods, and you could see these mirrory, I don't know, almost look like gas fume figures, of squatches moving through the woods. And there were more than one. I mean, there were probably 10 or 12 of them. I mean, it was crazy. But
I would love to know.
Once.
I would love to find out, just what maybe they're doing that so that we can accept them looking like an animal that we would understand, so that we might accept them a little better or not freak out.
I don't know what it is. I mean, I really don't. I mean, my mind goes in a million, it's one of those things where the more you know, the more questions you have. So my mind goes in a million different directions.
Okay. Okay, Chris, I'm down. I'm close to you.
If there's some way I can get out, I'll do it too.
But let's do a little more research before we go out there acting stupid. Let's
don't take a white light. They don't like white lights. Don't take cameras. Go and experience it. Build a trust with them first, and then ask them. Communicate, like I say, communicate with them just like you do spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Treat them like, they have feelings, which they do, or they are judgmental, I mean, they will know your intentions. And God.
Hey, Greg,
you guys let anybody watch this show, don't you?
Well, I've never seen him on here except when he's been on
at
here.
least not in a very long time. It's been a while, long time indeed.
I just sent Nick a footprint.
Greg is my biggest fan.
The picture, yeah. Okay, hold on a second. I got to see this.
Like Rob says, when they showed up that night, it was toward the end of the night at that public event, and everybody was kind of tired and maybe getting a little cranky or whatever, like
oh my God.
2 a.m, I guess. And then we started seeing them out there in the forest, and it was just like everybody just stood there in awe. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was very calming and very peaceful. There was no threat, nothing.
April, hi, honey. How are you?
Hey, good to see you, April.
Denise is right here, April.
Pack is like oxygen, always around.
I can activate him, April.
No, Crystal, I am like oxygen, meaning that everyone needs me. But no, I mean, there's like I say, I could talk about just Bigfoot for a couple hours, because it is. And Greg has been at Fort Duffield. He had his first Bigfoot experience up there. We saw the full-bodied, flesh and blood looking being walk out into a clearing on a full moon night and just stand there and look at us. And you could see the moonlight shining off of its hair. I mean, it was that clear.
A bunch of pictures.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's something I would like to get into as well. Now I have a lot of trouble with like Mothman and the different things because I don't understand it.
I've investigated the Mothman. I investigated the Mothman almost 10 years ago in Point Pleasant. So
I'm not saying they're not real. I'm not saying I don't believe it. I'm saying I don't understand it, and I don't have an inkling of how this could be possible. So I just stay away from it.
And that's exactly how we were with Bigfoot, like I said, until he found us. In fact, there was no Pac-Man Paranormal. And there would probably not be a Pac-Man Paranormal were it not for that time Bigfoot came up on us when we were ghost hunting. We were just 2 ghost hunters.
Yeah.
Not a team, nothing. We were just Ernie and Denise in a cemetery trying to find out more about Sarah's story. And, well, I contact after that night, because that night went on beyond just the initial tree knocks and other things. We wound up going on a live stream podcast called Ghost Hunters Meet Bigfoot. And the host of the show said, well, what's your team name? You got to have a team name if you're going to be on the live stream. We're like, we don't have a team. We're not a team. We're just two people. She said, oh, you got to come up with a name. So
We were just friends too.
yeah, we were just friends at the time. And
We see how that went.
so, I mean, my nickname has always been Pac-Man. What did Pac-Man do? He chased ghosts. So we said, okay, we're Pac-Man Paranormal.
Yeah.
And that was it. So
There was actually there was a story that Reverend Sean was and he has nothing to do with, he does spirits and that's about it. And I guess he went out somewhere near Vegas. I don't know exactly where it was, but he was telling the story about 3 years ago where he had went out and he heard the howls. He actually had them on recorder. And he said that they ran into, I don't know if he saw it or just the group he was with, but there was like 3. And it looked like one of them was pregnant. And then there was a smaller one. And they were not aggressive at all towards him. But they, of course, didn't advance to him either. But they were crossing the street and you could tell the I guess male was he was like hovering over the pregnant and the child and just kind of, but he said that there was no aggression whatsoever. And of course they saw him. I mean, they're not stupid that they don't know you're there.
right.
But I'm sure they're like,
you're there. You know what I mean?
yeah. And just like spirits or animals know when they sense things and know when you're there. What?
Baby Ernie Foot.
What?
It was not my kid, Rob. It was not my kid.
What on
The
earth?
Brendan Squatch and I have never met before.
Oh, is that a story we need to hear?
Yeah.
Do not trust anything that Rob says.
How close did you get to Bigfoot?
Closest I've been to one was probably 75 feet.
Okay, so
Really?
no chance you're daddy of anything. Okay,
Right, no,
just checking.
See,
Just checking.
see his exes.
Oh,
Whoa.
All right, we're getting off the rails. You better-
that's the fun part.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Hello, Court. Good to see you.
Did I?
I see everybody over here chiming in.
Yes.
Exactly, Chris. I did not have sexual relations with that. I want you to listen to me. That's a pretty good Bill Clinton just off the
Yeah, it was.
I want you to listen to me.
Would it be cool if I showed some of the pictures that Denise sent? Because I know Chris.
Please, I'd like to see them.
Yeah, this you got to see, Adrian. I was kind of took me by surprise. So I'm going to start off with the first picture that Denise sent me. So this right here, I wanted to ask. So what exactly is going on? Because it looks like some of the branches have been bent.
Well, that tree that's bowed, that is a living tree that you can. Okay, the fellow in the blue shirt underneath there, that's Squatch Man. He's 6'5". The one in the black shirt, that's Todd Askew. He's not 6'5", but he's an engineer. And Todd was trying to figure out how this happened. This is in the middle of the forest. There's no way you could get heavy equipment back there to do this. But that tree is probably a 75, 80 foot tall tree that is 1.5 feet in diameter at the base. And it is bent over like that. And then you've got two trees that are actually upside down. Their root end is toward the top, that are laid over that tree to pin it down in this archway.
Oh, wow.
So you tell me how that happens.
Exactly. Yeah. I can't think of any clue myself.
That's not, storm damage. That's not snowfall. I mean, this is southern Indiana. They don't get dense snowfalls like that anyway.
No.
No,
Wow.
definitely not. Let's see what the next one is.
Squatch
Oh,
Man.
what's that?
That's great.
I forgot about that picture.
That's Todd Eskew, so don't trust him because look at the guy.
The Todd.
Okay.
Oh, I think that just made my night, and I was not even intended. I did not mean to do that.
The Todd deserves it, though. If anybody deserves that to be shown, it's the Todd. There's another view of that same the same structure, but there are several of these in that forest that we'll keep it a secret because it's Squatch Man's little honey hole, and I don't want to tell everybody where it's at, but it's in southern Indiana, and there are several structures like that scattered through and like I say, they're out in the middle of the forest, off of the beaten path, not where people hike or where people would be doing such a thing. No one would have a right to do such a thing.
Yeah, like pretty far away from any type of like civilization or whatever.
Yeah, that's from underneath, looking straight up, where you can see how it's intentionally done. I mean, you can see that it is intentionally done, and we find new ones just about every time we go out there.
Wow. Now here's that one that this is the one I know you were kind of nervous about, Adrian, but here it is. This right here.
You see that trap?
I could see the toes right here in the shape.
Yeah. That I wear a size. I wish I had the picture with it that had my foot next to it, because I wear a size 13. I wear a size 13. I think it's a 13 or 14.
He can't live without me, folks.
I have to look inside my shoes, but I know they're at least a 13 or 14. And I mean, that thing is probably 4 or 5 inches longer than my foot.
But look at the side there. Look how puffed out somebody would have to have like a serious corn on the side of their foot to.
Yeah.
It looks really puffed out.
Yeah.
So how wide was
look
that?
like a human foot. You know what I'm saying?
It really does. It really does. Denise needs a raise.
How wide was it?
Denise's size. What's that?
How wide
was it? Probably 7.5, 8 inches wide. I mean, it was a good size. It was huge. I'll just put it that way.
Definitely massive.
We found this. We had been in the forest the night before with Squatch Man. The next morning we got up, went downstairs. That's the room where we keep our dog. That threshold right there goes to the room where we keep our dog. And I went downstairs to let the dog out and saw that right there in the threshold and was like, Denise, you got to see this. And we couldn't explain it. And then in spending a lot of time in the forest with people who do this a lot, they have said, yes, if you build a relationship.
The forest all weekend.
Yeah, that's what I said. We'd been in there the night before, in fact. And if you build a relationship with them, they will attach to you just like a spirit will, and they will follow you. And we were like, well, that's not cool. It's a little creepy.
It's not cool for spirits, and it's not cool for these things.
That is not your dog either, Rob.
That's and the dog didn't mind it, didn't act funny.
No.
Wow.
It was crazy. I mean, I don't know how long it had been there, but I know it wasn't there when we left. The last time that I had gone through that door, it wasn't there.
And it's so strange that you saw that, just happened to see it, because most of us wouldn't have even noticed that. We just kept going.
No,
Yeah,
we
I mean, I noticed it because it was clearly a footprint, but it was so big.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, wait a minute. And I put my foot down next to it and was like, whoa. And that's when I called Denise to come down and take a look. And we took that picture. I thought I had a picture with my foot next to it too, but I guess not. But
that's really
okay. No, they don't need to be
there. That's an incredible photo, though. I mean, just how detailed, especially the toes are.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I find very unique.
That's something you don't hear, though.
No, you don't.
You've heard it before that they do follow you home, but that's something that those of us that don't follow this have ever heard.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've heard of stories like where they would sometimes be stalking outside the house, but not necessarily indoors.
Yeah.
Because like some people have seen them like because they've seen stories, like I've heard stories of that where they're like seen right out the window. In fact, there was one story I remember hearing that was from I don't remember where it was. It was with two women who were living and this was back in 1934 when they had this encounter. And then as they're sitting, it's late at night, they're just minding their own business, and suddenly they get something startles the hell out of them by this loud bang. They look over and there's a huge hand right on the window of that house. And then right after that, they could see this tall, hairy figure standing right outside the window of their house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's what? The most interesting thing about where they live is the flood measuring stick. What?
I'm not. I don't get what that means.
At the park here in town, there's a pole that has all the flood levels. Because, like I say, we sit right on the Ohio River here at the confluence of the Salt River and the Ohio River, and there's a pole down there that has all the different flood levels. And when you sit there and look across, and you realize that goes all the way across over to the base of the hill over in Indiana, and then all the way up into town, from each of those marks, it's amazing. And you got all these flood marks, and then way up at the top of the pole, there's another mark for the 1937 flood, and the actual flood level was 6 feet higher than that. That's just as tall as the pole is. The pole's not tall enough.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Now this next picture, this one's also very interesting. This one I think I like the most. This one right here with the eyes, or what appears to be eyes.
Yeah. And that was taken. I can tell you, these eyes are self-illuminating. That is not a reflection of light.
They're glowing on their own energy.
Yeah, they are emitting light. And Rob has seen that. Crystal saw that. Rob says, yep. This was in Squatchman's Forest in southern Indiana. And it was taken, from where the person was standing when they took the picture, that as you get into the woods, it goes downhill pretty steep. So we walked back there to where we thought those eyes would have been. Those eyes had to be about 9 feet off the ground.
I was going to ask you how tall that would have been.
Huge.
Yeah. And
that's
we sat there and watched that for a while, and you could see it blink every now and then. You could see it turn its head, and then it moved off from the picture off to the right of where you see it there in the picture, and you could see it lighting up the forest in front of it as it moved across.
That's really interesting because they know. I mean, obviously, most of us have not seen that. If we have, we thought it was something else and moved on, whatever it was. But yeah. But to think about it, I've heard stories where there was other creatures, not necessarily Bigfoot, but creatures, where people saw things like that and would shoot at them.
Yeah.
But they never died. I mean, like they kept running off. So,
And there's stories you've never heard because the people don't exist anymore. You can check out the missing 411 files where they
Okay.
might have shot at them
Yeah. Okay.
and paid the price. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, they to be that close, they would even if you zoomed in, to be that close, they had to know you have no intention of hurting them.
Exactly.
And if you were to shoot them, ain't nothing going to happen to them anyway.
Right. Right.
But even at that, they knew. I think they're like spirits and can feel people's energy and know their intentions. And if you're a terrible, negative person, even if you want to act like you're princess of the world and Snow White,
Right.
they know.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. When I think they know your intentions and they know before you even get there.
Yeah, right. Like spirits do.
If that makes any sense. And this, this picture right here, when I was talking about 20 people up at the fort 2 weeks ago having a Bigfoot experience, that right there is pretty much exactly what 20 of us saw, multiple sets of like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Robert said.
They were various colors. Yeah. And they were various colors. Some were green, some were blue, some were red.
Wow.
Yeah, Big Red showed up, or at least one with red eyes. And we got it. Rob was, like I say, Rob was staying here at the house that night. We got back here and Rob just sat down and looked at me and he's like, "Was that real? What the heck happened? What was that? What was it?" Yeah. I mean, it's just a moving, weird experience when you see that, because we're all raised, and we're taught there's no such thing as monsters, there's no such thing as this, no such thing as that. And then when you see this and you know that it is real, it's like it's a whole, I don't know, it opens a door to a whole new world for you, and you can either be afraid of it, be intrigued by it, or just be in awe of it. And that's usually my reaction. I'm just in awe. I mean, we had an encounter at Fort Duffield one night when I had a group up there for a private overnight where 6 of us watched one walk all the way across the fort grounds and down over the hill into the woods. And when I talk about that, everybody's like, "Why didn't somebody take a picture?" And my only response is, this is what we were all doing.
Yeah.
That's not what you're thinking when you're seeing something that is so incredible and unbelievable. You're not thinking, "Oh, take pictures."
Yeah, it's like the most incredible encounters you have. It's like, even if you have the cameras with you, you just completely forget. And it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's something paranormal or cryptid wise. You're just
tornado.
Yeah, you know what? I actually was just about to say so. I heard that one time.
I found myself one time standing there looking at an EF4, and I'm just like, "Whoa, that is wicked." And I look around, and there's a couple people that are just like, "Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching." And I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah, I got to get my camera." I ran back to the van for my camera, and then it lifted.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. And actually, a storm chaser from an old I remember hearing from an old documentary is that, regardless, like a tornado in this case, like whether it's something like this, something paranormal or cryptid wise, it's exciting, but just the feeling of it. But at the same time, it's like you're just almost like strained to be gasping for breath because you're in awe. Whatever you're encountering can do something like this.
Right. Yeah, I mean I don't know. There's so much about the Bigfoot stuff that just blows my mind. And okay, I told you, I don't believe they're flesh and blood animals. I believe that they can appear as flesh and blood animals, and then they can cloak and be, invisible. And yet I have what we firmly believe, squatch hair.
Oh, wait. Hang on. I'm going to zoom in on that quickly because this I got to see too. Whoa.
I have heard, yes, I have heard that. And I have heard people getting that tested and it came back as nothing.
Unknown.
Yes, this is an unknown biological sample. That's what the testing came back on. That's why I don't
Oh,
mind.
you got it tested.
Yeah, this has already been tested, and it came
Wow.
back as an unknown biologic sample.
See, we actually tried doing something like that a couple of years ago with a Bigfoot hunt. It was down in central Illinois, and we actually had Bobo from Finding Bigfoot with us in that case. And you know, despite our best efforts, we didn't find anything. But just like you in that case, I gave several of the people that were taking part in this plastic bags because I said in case you guys find any hair samples, collect. And it probably could have been a better time too because unlike most cases, we actually went during the middle of winter. This was actually in January. So I think even though we couldn't find anything, if we did find any hair samples, it would have been easier to find them in the snow than obviously during the summer.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Robert, did you get that out of my bed? Sorry.
I haven't heard whether they're more active, you know, at certain seasons or whatever, but
You can if you follow, you know, some of the Bigfoot community, you know, there's people that, you know, talk about they have migrational patterns, you know, based on the time of year and this and that. I firmly believe that they're just like a spirit. They can be anywhere, anytime. You know what I'm saying?
that would make sense. That would make more sense because going off they're interdimensional, they have portals, they can come and go as they please. What would make them, you know, I mean, they're beings. So I'm going to assume as beings, they're more intelligent than we are.
Yeah.
So, you know, why would they care what the weather is, what's going on? They can go right back.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. You saw the structure, you know, the big tree arch. We talk about how we've seen them cloak and, you know, various things that are just like, you know, mind-blowing things. You know, scientists will tell you that humans only use about 10% of their actual brain power.
Mm-hmm.
What if when we learn to use 30% of our brain power, we can do things like manipulate things beyond our physical strength, cloak ourselves, basically achieve invisibility or whatever. We don't know because we haven't reached that level.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, you know, the mind speak and all the different things that you hear about with
Crystal.
Can you boot her from the chat? But no, I mean it's and this squatch here. I think that Denise sent you a picture, maybe of a structure, other structure.
Yeah, I was going to get to the next one. Next picture. Actually, I think there's something in between. Let's see what. Oh, this was the next one right here.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
skull.
Yeah, that's a coyote skull that was right outside of where the next picture is.
Okay, so then
That's
the next one
so
right here.
little.
Yeah, you see that?
Yeah.
References.
That her daughter is what 5'7", 5'8". She's bent down, standing on that. But that thing, I crawled inside of that. You know, these sticks are piled on both sides of that log.
Broken.
They're broken, not cut. And inside of there is where this hair was. Squatchman found this hair inside of that thing there. And that
That's
skull
really
was
interesting. Why
Just
why
outside.
would they need to be in there when they can? Wow, maybe they
It
had
could-
a baby.
See, I would basically think this is just my personal opinion. I've heard this for years. Is that it's either like a marking of territory or like maybe a warning to keep certain, you know, either other members of its species out or like other or people or whatever they consider intruders. But that's
Right.
just what I've been taught. So obviously, I'd rather let everybody else be the judge on that.
I can't imagine. That's so
Squatchman-
cool.
Squatchman thinks that you know, they rely a lot on energy. they need to pull, like just like a spirit to manifest, they pull batteries and whatever. And Squatch Man believes that when they're lower on energy, they cannot cloak, of course, so they appear in the physical form. Well, they see themselves as a prey to hunters or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So they hide, rest, recharge till they can get back out and do their, cloaking and everything else. And he also believes that the tree arches and things like that create a bit of an energy portal for them, because if you look at those trees, they go up, down, and they're down into the ground. Just like, it makes a complete arch.
Yeah.
And, there's like some type of energy that they get.
Makes total sense.
That makes sense, because I mean, like, my belief is the ground gives us energy. We ground from it. We, everything comes from that ground, our life, our everything. So why wouldn't that make sense to get the negative gone and recharge? And of course, if they can't cloak, to hide for a minute.
Right.
Okay, let's do this. Let's ground. Let's, wherever the energy is coming from, let's pull it.
Right.
Tom, hey.
Nickel Tom's in the house.
But that makes you, I guess if you have an open mind, the older you get, of course, I was raised Christian. There's only one way. There's this, there's that. You have no other way. Don't even look. Don't think about it. You're stupid. Don't.
Yeah. You're messing with the devil.
Yeah. The older I get, it's like, no.
Right.
I'm not buying any of your bullshit. And, let's start from what's going on. Why is this here? Why is this here? Why is this here? Let's make our own theory here, because
right.
We have a mind and it's to use it.
Yep.
But like you said, we only use a little bit of it. I saw a video of a man who kinetic, I can't remember what they call it, but he was like, where they can move objects.
Oh, yeah, telepathy.
No, it's like kinetic energy. I don't remember.
Oh,
yeah. But he was moving.
Basically using your chi. Or
yes.
in Star Wars, the Force.
The Force, that's right.
Like he was moving leaves and was making a whirlwind in this place. And I was like, amazing. He learned to use just a little more than what we know.
Right.
And, it makes you wonder in what what I believe. There's, when you go, you have a choice. Do you want to move on? Do you want to be a spirit guide? Do you want to be, what is it? What level do you want to go to? And, what level do you have to be an interdimensional creature, or I know spirits are, but, things like that, like, it makes you excited to see what is on the other side.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of fearing it, it's exciting.
That's what, amazes me about this. The more I learn or experience, I guess, because I don't really feel like I know anything still. But I've experienced a lot. The more I see connections between all of these things, like the cryptids, the spirit activity, the UFO activity. It just, I see so much reason to think that it's all one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, my own belief on what happens after we die is that our energy, spirit, is released and free to be wherever you choose to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can see
your
all
heaven.
those things.
Yes. That is your heaven. If you want to ride a comet, you can ride a comet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
if you want to go to Mars, you can go to Mars. If you want to go to another galaxy, you can go to another galaxy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whatever. And unless you're damned. If you're damned, you're trapped reliving the worst day of your. That's why prisons are so active.
Yeah.
And so much dark energy surrounds them. Places like that. Anywhere where people have done horrible things, there's usually a dark spirit there. Well,
we don't want them becoming something.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're trapped there because that is their hell.
Yeah.
That's their damnation. That's their condemnation.
Yeah.
And that's my belief. I mean, it goes against some of my Southern Baptist upbringing, maybe in ways.
Yeah.
But the root of it, I think, is perfectly real.
Yeah.
Well, man wrote the Bible. Yes, of course, there's a creator somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not naive enough or arrogant enough to think that we just all of a sudden popped up on our own accord.
Right.
But, yes, there's a creator somewhere. Is it the person the Bible says?
Bearded guy in the clouds? Or,
maybe not. But that person could be an alien, or what we consider an alien.
Yes.
Who knows? But as long as we,
what I'm saying, the more the more I think I've learned, then the more doors are open for other questions.
Absolutely.
I keep doing what I do.
Power, and not just ourselves, because it's obviously not ourselves, or we could use more of our brain than what we are. I think we might even be the lowest on this earth, because
I would not be surprised. I wouldn't be.
What percentage of our brain we use? Let's just say like a dog.
Yeah.
Their brain capacity is not nearly what our brain capacity is, but I believe that they use a higher percentage of their brain capacity than what we do, because dogs can sense when you're coming home.
Oh yeah.
You open the door. That they have maximized that. Any animal.
Absolutely.
A duck, whatever.
Denise, I would love to. I wish. Let me look this up here.
While she's looking that up, I saw Denise sent me another picture. Now this one is another interesting one. See, this one's kind of. Let me see if I could zoom in on this. Okay, yeah, here we go. All right, I don't know if it's going to make it any clearer, but at least we got a better view of it. Yeah.
Okay, do you see the goblin-looking thing there?
I was just about to say, what the hell are we looking at in this picture?
All right, we've had people say that we've had people describe that as a puck wedgie. Different things, you know what I mean? I mean, different people have different opinions as to what it might be. All I can tell you is I took that picture. Denise, myself, and Squatch Man were in his forest in southern Indiana. And Denise walked out into the forest, pitch black, and she could hear, and we could hear, like, and every now and then these things would brush against her. There were things just like running all around her out where she was at. And so I started taking pictures. Nothing shows up in any of the pictures and they're all in the same direct, because I'm just pointing it toward where Denise was standing. Denise is just to the right. Like that thing is looking at Denise. That's zoomed in.
Yeah.
In the whole picture, Denise was like just off frame there to the right. And out of all the pictures, that's the only one that I actually caught anything that at all. And that thing is apparently what was running around the woods and brushing against her legs and stuff. And they were about 3 feet high. And we don't know what the heck it is.
This is just my opinion from it, but the way how I see it is that it almost looks, I can see the goblin-like look to it, but it also kind of looks a little bird-like too, because it looks like it's got a beak of some sort.
Almost, yeah.
See, Jeremy says it looks like Gonzo.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, I don't know what it is.
That is just the weird, and it's hard to believe that it's only 3 feet tall. I mean, yes, I have the picture zoomed in,
Hi, Crystal.
but fact that it's smaller than any of us, it's just hard to believe that something like that. You would think it would be a lot more taller, more intimidating looking instead of just 3 feet.
Yeah, I mean that's what There are stories of Kentucky goblins. And
the Hopkinsville ones. I know that one.
The Hopkinsville goblins. Now, this was in southern Indiana, but the look of it reminds me of the descriptions of the Kentucky goblins. The big ears, the long snout, and
Well, every theory come from every cryptid come from somewhere. I mean, whether it was somebody tweaking, I don't know, but these are long before that.
Right.
So, everything came from somewhere. Somebody saw something.
Yeah. And, like I say, I'm a ghost guy. That was how I got started. Most people know who I am, know that, I started out as before I was a guide at Waverly Hills, I had started a website called True Paranormal, where I had people send me their ghost stories, and I would judge whether or not they were worthy of putting on the site or not, or if they were just nonsense or whatever.
Right.
And then I would post them and we'd have discussions about them and stuff. And then growing up near Waverly Hills, I became a guide at Waverly Hills several years ago. And so I was a ghost guy. I was not a believer I wasn't a denier, but I was not a believer in Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
I thought people who believed in fairies were absolutely insane. I thought UFOs probably existed. I had become convinced that the Loch Ness Monster was all a hoax and there was nothing to it. Mothman, the jury was out on Mothman. It sounded like a crazy story to me. Having been in this field now for going on 30 years, I've seen fairies. I've communicated with Sasquatches. I've got that picture of a goblin. Mm-hmm. And if a freaking leprechaun came in the room behind me right now, I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's hardly anything that I discount anymore as being possible, because when you do this a lot and you experience a lot, I mean, you come to realize, like Jeremy says, you turned into a crazy.
Yeah. When I discount something, or when I don't understand something, I try to go to people who do study it, just to, maybe they have an idea that I don't. So tell me, tell me what you've experienced. Tell me what you see.
Right. Explain
it to me so that I'm not just thinking it's a fairy tale.
Right. Right.
I love it. Thank you. This is my anniversary gift.
Well, that looks great. I like it.
Cool.
Do you see what it is, though?
I could see it says love several times.
It's a New Jersey Devils.
How ironic is that?
The Jersey Devils.
That's his hockey team.
Yep.
Who else am I going to buy? What else would I buy?
That's like buying your wife a vacuum, because she's going to use it for you.
I mean, this might sound chauvinistic and be like, the worst marriage advice ever, but if you're going to like it. You're going to like it. The next time I need to buy Denise a gift, I'm getting her some Pioneer Woman cooking.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. That's expensive. It's nice and it works very well.
And she loves her some Pioneer Woman. So there we go.
I just can't afford it. I would love to. I can't afford it. My daughter, on the other hand, her in-laws buy it for her and she wants nothing to do with it. But they have filled her kitchen with it. But no, the devil. Now, I have no problem with this simply because I've learned to like hockey because of him. We go to the local hockey team because of him. So no, I'm good with this. I won't be mad at him.
Jeremy, he says send her to Walmart with my credit
I
card.
was actually just looking for that comment.
And Jeremy has experienced going to Walmart
Yeah.
with Denise and Ernie having to say no as we walk down the aisle with the Pioneer Woman stuff. So he knows about this obsession.
She has moved into gardening. She has moved into clothing. She has moved into every aspect of everything.
Yeah, I know, and my bank account knows.
I can't. I'll do the kitchen. I can't go any further.
Denise, the last time we were in Walmart together, she was like, "Ooh, I might do some gardening if I had these Pioneer Woman gardening gloves and utensils." And I'm like, "Please." I'll tell you this. This is another funny story. When Haunted Discoveries came to film at the house, we got these 2 huge concrete flower pots on the front porch, and they had nothing in them. And she's like, "We need to get some flowers or something to put in there." So I went to the freaking Lowe's and I bought like $80 worth of flowers. I planted in these flower pots next to the front of the house. Denise walked by the house, walked out the door one time. We went to get dinner. We came back. The flowers right there next to the walkway were all dead.
Oh,
Wow.
oh, that's
Jeez.
awful.
She is
Oh my
she's
God.
like Wednesday Addams, you know? I mean, she walks by plants and they die.
Oh, how
Oh
awful.
my God.
She's
That's
terrible.
horrific.
She's terrible.
I love plants. I can't keep them all alive. I can keep everything but alive but a damn aloe vera. I cannot keep one of those alive for some reason.
And they're like, aren't they supposed to be like low maintenance and easy?
I
Yes.
thought so too.
Yes. They need very little water, but they need humidity so you can. I put it in the bathroom. It's got light. It's got. What more do you want?
You're not supposed to pee on them, I don't think.
And I hope you better
I
not
don't
be.
think so. the only alive in my yard are weeds.
Well, the thing about my house, it's like built in 1908. And so the only original windows are like those. Remember those big blocks of glass that were like textured?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
That's what's in that bathroom. And the other set has been removed. And there was 2 windows. One set has been removed. They became garden ornaments. And no, there's no breaking. I've tried. Oops. They're gone. No. Oh, no. Do not put them in your garden. Somebody decided it was a good idea to put them like sideways to where, it's a square. So put them sideways and start stacking them. Just don't.
Don't do that.
These
Okay.
things, ask Ernie about mowing under the wisteria. What the hell is that?
Wisteria?
Yeah, we've got a
What is
wisteria
that?
arch in our backyard.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it'd be like a perfect setting for like a wedding or something. You know, what I'm
Yeah.
saying? A big whole arch of wisteria. And Denise was mowing under it. She started thinking about snakes, right?
Ah,
And she looks
I
up
can
at
see why she said
wisteria
that.
and she sees this long green thing hanging down from the wisteria. She screamed, and people here in town ran to the tornado shelter because she screamed so loud. They thought it was like a tornado siren or something.
Oh, jeez.
It was just one of the pods hanging off of the wisteria. It was not a snake.
I actually miss the snakes in Kentucky. I really do. There was a lot of the milk snakes, the rat snakes where I lived in
Garden
Kentucky.
snakes, perhaps.
They're just milk snakes and rat snakes. They're very large. I mean, they get very large. But, oh, they were so fun.
Yeah, she has got a literal phobia to snakes and will like have a heart attack if she has.
I cannot say a damn word because the phobia that I have, everybody makes fun of, and I try to keep it hidden.
Yeah,
Because
unlike you guys that taught me with my phobia.
Well, yours is at least legit. Mine has no reasoning whatsoever. Nobody should be scared of a balloon.
A balloon?
A
I'm scared
balloon?
to death of balloons.
Why are you
And
scared of
it's
a
pop.
Well, why are you scared of a
That's
balloon
just weird,
for?
Adrian. I'm sorry.
It is. It is. It's the pop. I'm scared to death they're gonna pop.
They're
I
gonna
can
pop
shoot
and then
guns.
you're gonna jump and yeah, it's gonna scare you. I get that.
The little Jack in the Box. I can't do those.
Oh,
It's the
Yeah,
pops.
that jump scare, that whole jump scare thing. I get it.
I
My only thing
never-
really is spiders. I mean, I don't like spiders at all.
my son will not either. He will call me at an adult, Mom, kill this damn thing. Now
Yeah.
we own a tarantula. He loves tarantulas. We have one that is probably mostly the size of my hand.
oh,
20
jeez, that's huge.
26 years old. You've seen her.
Yeah.
26 years old, I think, 27, something like that. One of the oldest tarantulas I've ever heard of. It was his son's kindergarten pet. So I keep looking in there thinking, okay, she's dead today. She's got to be. Nope. Nope.
She would be in my house.
I'm scared of her. Like she's not a spider.
She dead. I'm sorry. Bless her
Yeah.
heart. She
So
got too
weird.
many legs to live. Sorry. Oh,
I will not hold her. I will not touch her. I will not mess with her. I'll mess with a wild one, but somehow this one I won't.
no.
Spiders moved around ever since they got that new home for it.
Yeah. She was in a 10-gallon tank for her first 20 years. And I'm like, hell no, you're going to keep it. You're going to, okay, let's go. We found at a yard sale this great big, ugly looking wooden thing with glass on top. It used to house I don't know, some varmint. And so I'm like, okay, we can do this. And I put her in there. Now she just moves all around. She doesn't spin webs anymore, but she just moves everywhere. And I keep looking. Has she moved today? Because are you sure she's alive?
Nope. No,
It's a spider, yeah.
gonna be a no for me. I
The
don't.
only thing I can't do is black widows. I can't
Oh,
do
black widows. You don't mess with those.
I
or
got bit,
brown recluse.
I got bit on the toe by a black widow.
Oh,
Yikes.
I heard they sting like wasps.
Well,
Yes.
they say their venom is like 15 times more powerful than a rattlesnake.
It can be, I'm sure, or
Yeah.
they wouldn't be called that. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, I know
exactly.
that
But it's
They're
only
called
the
that
females.
killer
It's only the
snakes.
females that bite, not the males.
Yeah, the males are cool. You know, they're nice.
See the ones with the red hourglasses, you
No, how-
run like hell.
Yeah. No, that thing got me right on the. I was pressure washed.
Denise. He sleeps with a black widow.
This is true. It's over giggling.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what were we talking about before we got weird?
So I was gonna. Denise had made a comment there, and I was trying to find out. I was looking, and I thought we were so much further away, but we're only 17 hours away, which would be like 2 days drive. Which,
Yeah.
Oh gosh, last weekend I took my grandkids back home. I drove for 4 days. I drove 6 hours. Stopped at my daughter's, drove another 6.5 hours, stopped at my daughter's, drove back 4 days of this crap. And when I got home, I realized my ankles and my feet were so swollen. They had so much edema. I could push on them and it stayed for like over a minute. And I'm like, okay, now I'm a little worried because this isn't right. I had blood clots at one point, which those are gone. I'm on blood thinners. But this is a whole different issue. So I posted on Facebook something silly, and my aunt goes, "Hey sis, we have heart issues in our family and you need to get checked." And I'm like, okay, so it's not just the driving. She said, you just need to get checked. So now we're on a journey of we need to lose weight and we need to get this heart checked. So, but that wouldn't be so bad. Like 10-hour drive, go with a friend, trade off.
Yeah.
And
Drive to somewhere in Missouri.
you still on here, woman? You ready?
You make it to, like I say, somewhere in Missouri, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Get you a motel, and then heck, like from St. Louis to here is only like 5.5 hours.
That wouldn't be bad at all. And Jan, she's amazing at driving. Is there a place you can book, or how do you do that?
Well, we don't offer overnights here at the house, but we do it to Fort.
They can come visit.
Yeah, you can come and visit.
Right.
And
We just need to find out.
we just need to know when we'd be available, and we, like I say, Jeremy came and stayed. We didn't charge him, but I think Jeremy gave us $1,000 a night.
Jeremy, where'd you get that shit, boy?
Yeah, he seems quite a rich man.
Yeah, Rob and Crystal stayed here a couple weekends ago. I mean, we have friends come in like every 2 or 3 weeks. It seems like coming in.
Oh wow, it's like a revolving door.
Yeah, if folks are in the area, it's a really active place, and it's it's, if you're coming to visit Waverly's 20 minutes away. If you're coming to go to Octagon Hall or something, Octagon Hall's about 2 hours away.
What's funny?
There's plenty of places around here that are close.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Fort Duffield, which is 5 minutes away.
Didn't you? I thought you were having bookings for Fort Duffield.
We do. And people just contact me for that.
Okay.
We have a website that right now is on hold because it's being rebuilt. Rob Stakowitz is actually eventually going to get around to rebuilding it. He's not in the chat now, but he's eventually going to get back, have the time to get it rebuilt for us, and we'll be able to do all the booking through there. But until then, people can just contact me.
Okay.
And it's
what I'd like to do,
12-hour overnight from like 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. Most people
Okay.
don't last that long because it's an outdoor location, and
Right.
you don't have a comfortable place to just lay down or whatever. When you get outdoor. But you are able to, if you want to stay from 7 p.m. till 7 a.m.
okay.
$400 for up to 10 people, which is hard to find a better deal than that
Yeah.
Right.
for a place that's that active and has, it's got the trifecta. It's got spirits, it's got squatches, and it's got UFO activity. We've had people have all of those things happen while they were there. So
What I'd like to do is, when it's warm, like spring or fall, go up and just, book Fort Duffield. And of course,
See,
we'd have enough time to, Nick, we can get together.
because I was gonna say, if we did that like during the spring or fall, that would be perfect. Because first off, we wouldn't have to deal with mosquitoes and all these bugs and stuff like that.
right.
Have you met Kentucky before?
I've been attacked by a swarm of mosquitoes, and that was enough for me.
Kentucky doesn't have what you're talking about, but it
Bug spray year round.
Well,
Yeah, you need bug spray.
Yeah, well, and I tried doing that.
Ate up right now from that event.
I did that one time on an investigation, and even though I had bug spray on, it still didn't. It wouldn't stop the mosquitoes. They wouldn't give. I even tried spraying at them.
We're going to bring people like me that are rednecks, and camping is nothing.
Well, and the other thing too, I got to bring up. It would be great if we plant something. Well, and the other thing too it would be great to plant something like this because and I've told you about this a long time ago, Ernie. People always think, especially like where I live, it's a really far trip. Getting down there is really not that far. It's only about 5.5, 6 hours away from me. So I can get there within a day.
We got a daughter that lives in Chicago. You can just hitch a ride from her.
Yeah, exactly.
Scorpions,
Part of the
centipedes, and spiders, Chris. Kentucky and Indiana have them, very much so.
We there are scorpions around. We don't run into them here because we're not in the mountainous part of the state. They're more in the mountain, the eastern Kentucky, more mountainous areas. But they
I
do
live
have scorpions.
outside of Louisville. I lived in like Taylorsville, Mount Eden, that area, which I didn't see scorpions when I lived there. That's not a thing, but
No.
Snakes, all that good stuff. I made friends with all of them, and not a one of them bit my horses when I was there. Thank goodness.
Be right back.
You don't drive, Nick. You sleep. Well, that's okay. His mouth is closed. It's okay.
Shut up.
It's like a
Anyway,
kid
I gotta
joke.
just say this quickly. I just gotta say this. Shut up, Tom.
It's okay. Mouths are closed. We're good.
I'll be back in just a second.
Nick's going to poop, everybody. He'll be back in a few minutes. While he's
Get it all
gone,
out, boy. Hope it all turns out okay.
while he's gone, we'll talk about him.
No, I think that would be really neat to. I am just so done with the overdone places. The spirits are done with them. I mean, they're tired. They're done. They've had it. People are disrespectful. They're, the different energies that come in. They're done. They are done.
I agree. There's a lot of locations that I think get I don't know. They get overrun and I'm not going to say played out because I mean, the spirits are still at these locations and all that, but I mean, when you've investigated the same place a dozen times or more, then you want to get out and experience a place that you haven't been to, that you haven't seen on TV 1,000 times, that that's just new. And
it's amazing. I love the places that I've been to a lot of times because you get to know the spirits. They know you. Now, in cases like Old Park Hotel in Ballinger, I was only there twice. And just the very first time, that little sucker followed me home. So, I mean, it doesn't take going there a lot of times. It takes them deciding, oh, I like you or I don't like you, and I'm going home with you.
Right.
But, they're everywhere. They're at Walmart. They are with us everywhere we go, around us.
Exactly.
And
you don't have to go to a 1800s home like ours or anything like that.
Jeremy's asking, did you have something happen on the stairs? You remember just putting rocks.
Let me tell you the update on that. Okay. And it's a shame that she's not here in the chat still, but Crystal Blevins was a big part of this. There's a book called The Spirited and Haunting History of West Point, Kentucky that has an entire chapter on our house in it. And one of the stories in that book is about children who would play on the stairs and they would throw pebbles down the steps to try to stop them on a certain step or something. It was a game they played back in the day. And the haunting claim is that every now and then you would find pebbles around the steps.
oh,
I could see where I've heard of a story like this. I see where this is going.
So when we moved in here, we cleaned the place. We cleaned the place for like a week before we started bringing anything in because it was in such a mess when we got here. And one night we left, and Denise actually said, if there's any kids that want to bring any rocks in here, to let us know you're here, because we had read that book, and if there's any kids that want to bring any rocks in here, to let us know you're here, we'd appreciate it. And we came back the next day, and on like the second or third step, which is right across from the front entrance to the house, we found this rock.
Oh, wow.
wow.
That out.
Middle of the stairs.
You wouldn't have missed that cleaning.
No, you wouldn't.
Since then, we've found all these others.
Oh my God, a couple of them.
Yeah. So when Jeremy came and stayed last year, we were telling him about this because I think we found a rock while he was here. And we were telling him about this. And he said, why don't you try putting some crystals on each step and see if they'll use those? So we did. We put a crystal on every step on the main staircase. And what we started having happen was like you go to the stairs at one point and there'd be a step with no crystal on it. You go down 2 or 3 steps and there's one that's got 2 on it where they moved it down a couple of steps. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Well, here about what, a month ago? Yeah, it was just after, about a month ago. About a month ago, one of the crystals just vanished. We didn't know where it was. It was gone. And was gone for about a month. When Crystal Blevins came and stayed at the house, she stayed in the children's room. She slept there. She woke up the next morning. She came and took a shower, went back in there and was going to make the bed. When she went to make the bed, that missing crystal was under her pillow.
Wow.
Wow.
And it was like, whoa, that, that was pretty cool. It was,
a nice shower, by the way.
we do have a nice shower. We got a jacuzzi tub too. We got a nice place. We got to redo some things, but the bathrooms need to be redone. But we love it here, and we love the activity here. I mean, it's
Yeah.
great.
That would be fun.
It really would. And again, now that gives me another reason to regret why I wasn't able to make it out last year.
Yeah, Nick, you suck.
Yeah, I do.
There's a reason for everything.
Right.
Chill
I
out.
was talking to Jeremy yesterday or the day before, and he said that he's going to try to plan a things outing to the fort, and of course, you guys be able to stay here at the house when you come. So
It's funny you mention that too, because a while back, and I haven't been able to work on it lately, but I told a while back that I was also going to try to do a Nick Files episode on Fort Duffield itself, which I do have it, believe it or not, completed. It's just that, like I always do with a lot of my slideshows, I like to put like the activity that occurs. But Jeremy actually kind of told me to hold off on that until I was able to get more information with you guys. So eventually I am going to be, excuse me, I am going to be doing an episode of Nick Files for Fort Duffield. I don't know exactly when, but sometime real soon. It's on my list.
cool. Well, just let me know what you need from me, and I'll be happy to give you anything I got on it.
Yeah.
One thing that we found out about our house just recently, and Jeremy will remember this, there's a historic marker right on the corner of our yard over here, right where it borders the neighbor's yard, that it's about John Shields. It says something like, this is the former home site of John Shields. John Shields was the blacksmith and gunsmith for the Lewis and Clark expedition. And they actually picked him up when George Rogers Clark came down from Louisville. Their first stop was right here behind our house at the mouth of the Salt River. And they picked up John Shields and I think it was like 6 other people to add to the party. And so, it's pretty cool that, he's from here in West Point, right? Well, what we found out recently, his cabin where he lived was actually part of our foundation is actually part of the foundation for his house. If you go into the crawl space under our house, you'll see the remains of a rock foundation under there for a log cabin. That was John Shields' log cabin back in the 1700s. So that was pretty cool. And like Jeremy says, part of the house is built on ship. West Point was a huge shipping port back in the late 1700s, early 1800s. Because of the falls of the Ohio in Louisville, ships couldn't go past those falls in those days. There was no lock and dam system to get past there. So they would disembark in West Point, like ships coming up from, say, New Orleans. They would offload their goods in West Point, move them around the falls of the Ohio by the Louisville and Nashville Turnpike up to Louisville, above the falls, and then they would, go on north. Well, our floors here in the house weren't here yet because the house wasn't built yet. A ship came up from New Orleans selling sugar cane, and they sold their sugar cane here in town. And by the time they paid all their transportation costs and everything to do with it, they did not make enough money to make the trip worthwhile.
Oh.
So the owner of the ship said, well, we'll pull this boat apart board by board and sell the boards. It's cypress wood. It's good wood. Boom. So that's what they did. The person who bought them happened to be, I believe it was Abraham Ditto. And that's what the floors here of the upstairs of the house are made. All of the floors of the house were made of those cypress boards, which is pretty cool.
Oh, you can imagine the energy.
Yeah,
that
I
is
was
in that wood, because wood holds energy just like stone does.
just like what's the stone I'm thinking of?
Limestone?
Limestone. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, which there's Fort Duffield is built atop a hill which has a limestone quarry dug into the side of that hill.
We've got 2 railroads across.
If you've ever read Brandon and Mustafa's book Elements of a Haunting, they talk about all of the elements of a haunting, things like limestone, running water, cave systems, some type of traumatic trigger event like the Civil War or whatever, railroad tracks, because that's a unending conductor, steel rail. Well, here in West Point, you got 2 rivers that come together. You got the limestone quarry right here at Fort Duffield. You got caves all under that hill. You got 2 railroad tracks that cross right here in town. 2, long lines of tracks that cross right here in town. We've got all the elements of a haunting here, and this entire town is haunted. There's so many stories that, now that people are more comfortable talking to us. We were the new people in town this time last year, but now that people are more comfortable talking to us, we're hearing more and more people talking about, the hauntings of their house, or, things that they remember from this house, or, one of the other places around here. When Haunted Discoveries came to film, they initially were going to film here and maybe the fort. Well, they wound up filming at 4 different locations here in town, and are probably going to be coming back to film some more because they just uncovered so much here. So I don't know, it's really cool. I mean, for us, when we first picked this house out off of Zillow, all we saw on there was that it was a former Civil War hospital and was on the National Registry of Historic Places.
That's enough.
And we were like, yeah, we're in. We love it. So we get here, we walk 10 feet in the door, we look at the realtor, and we say, we'll take it. It's a 3,700 square foot house. We didn't get past the foyer till we said, we'll take it. And then we started Googling it to try to find out more about it. I Googled Ditto House Inn.
I Googled it.
Yeah, that's right. You Googled Ditto House Inn. And the first result that came up said 6 reasons why the Ditto House Inn is Kentucky's most haunted house.
Oh, geez.
We were like,
Really?
no, we're high five. I mean, we didn't even know it was haunted.
Oh,
What I wonder, how much of a connection, I mean, I know this is its own thing, it's completely different, but How much of a connection, maybe part of that family or somebody that lived in it before or on the land was in Waverly? Maybe they had TV.
Well,
Yeah.
funny you say this.
How about how we got to be here? All the synchronicities.
There's a lot. There's a lot to tell. On 6th Street, we live on Elm Street. Near
Of course. Why am I not surprised?
Right. Our house is at 204 Elm Street. The house on 6th Street, just, I don't know,
4 blocks.
400 yards from here. Actually, it's not as the crow flies. It's a straight line that way.
Sure.
Yes.
That's a new start for a movie. We're gonna have to make a movie on that now.
Let's see it. Anyway, the fellow that lived there, his name was
Major
What?
Hayes.
Major Hayes. Does that ring a bell to any of you people?
It does sound familiar, actually.
It does, but I don't know why.
He's the man that started the little schoolhouse on top of a hill right up here and named
Yeah,
the place Waverly Hills.
Okay.
that's okay. That's what I was trying to. I was starting to think. You know what? Now it's starting to come back to me, and you're absolutely
That's-
right.
That's actually the
Listen to
first
Hayes.
house that we thought about buying together. Major Hayes. But anyway, so you ask about other synchronicities. I did not know that my mom ever lived in West Point. I knew she had lived in Battletown, Kentucky, and then they moved to Cosmosdale, Kentucky, and then to Valley Station, Kentucky. But between there, they lived on Mulberry Street, which is the next street over from ours in West Point, Kentucky.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So we moved down here, and then I found that out. When I started researching Fort Duffield, there was a civilian put in charge of the civilian people who were helping with the construction of the fort.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the construction was done by home guard units from the 9th Michigan and out of Indiana and Illinois. But there was a civilian that was put in charge of some civilians that were also assisting with the design and the construction of the fort. His name was Charles Bennett. That's my 4th great grandfather.
Wow. I've heard of the name Charles Bennett before too. Yeah.
I mean, it's like maybe we're supposed to be here.
Yep.
Let me tell you, it goes deeper than that. Denise, when she got married to some loser like 30 years ago, her in-laws told her that they would take them for their honeymoon. They would pay for their honeymoon trip anywhere that Southwest Airlines flew. And so Denise just, boom, pointed to a map, just randomly pointed to a map.
Oh, God.
She pointed to Newport, Rhode Island.
Okay.
So they went to Newport, Rhode Island. They flew into Providence, Rhode Island, and were driving across the bridge into Newport. And I don't know if you guys have ever been up there, but there's this big, tall bridge that you go up and then back down into Newport. As soon as they crested that top of that bridge, Denise knew where she was. She remembered everything about the town. She remembered the names of streets, all this different stuff.
And I used to have a dream about
She had grown up having a dream about choking on salt water and sand. Okay.
Jeez.
And it was a recurring dream over and over. And so anyway, they get into Newport. She knows her way around. She's talking about what used to be on this corner, and her new husband at the time is looking at her like, what the hell are you talking about? But she was right. She's like, go up here and take a left. And, she told him what was going to be there, and they were right. She was right. So they have all these mansions up in Newport. The Vanderbilts had a mansion there. The Astors, the Kennedys. I mean, there's a lot of mansions. I mean, like mansions. And they have tours of these now. And she saw one. She said, I got to go there. I know that place. That's the one I got to go to. So she goes in this house. And she knows her way around the house. She's like telling the tour guide, she's like, I want to go to the servants' quarters. And the tour guide's like, huh? Yeah, they're right up here, up these steps and around to the left, back that way. And they're like, yeah. She's telling the tour guide about a party they had where everyone was dressed in white and all these sailboats were out there on the ocean. And the tour guide takes her and shows her a picture of this party where everybody's dressed in white and all these sailboats out on the water. And she's like, wow. So come to find out, that house was owned by John Jacob Astor, who happened to be the richest man who went down on the Titanic.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
So
wasn't he also the one that helped save everybody?
He offered up his.
He was given, because he was first class and he was a rich guy.
Yeah.
He was offered a lifeboat and he said, no.
Yes. I know that story.
Yeah.
Yep, I know. So do I.
So, Denise is like, was I John Jacob Astor in a previous life? I mean, it's just blowing her mind at this point.
So then I'm
Well,
gonna put Castle in the room.
she sees on the brochure for all these mansions, there's one called Belcourt Castle. And she's like, well, it's got castle in the name. I got to go see that one. I want to go check it out. So she goes to Belcourt Castle, loves it, kind of remembers like she's been there before too. That place was built by Oliver Hazard Perry Belmont, the son of Oliver Hazard Perry. Okay. So she gets back home 25 years ago. She falls in love with the nautical theme because, Newport is all about nautical. That's where they used to have the America's Cup sailboat races and stuff. It's all, the whole town is like all about sailboats and that kind of thing. She falls in love with that theme. So she buys a lot of things like on eBay or online, whatever, just decorations around the house with sailboats and lighthouses and those kinds of things. And one of the things that she bought was a set of 3 photo or etchings of sea captains. She hangs them in her house 25 years ago. She's moved like 4 times since then. They've hung in every house she lived in. They hung in the house we lived in before we moved here. When we moved here, I was hanging them up downstairs in the dining room, and I happened to look at one, and I said, Denise, did you ever pay any attention to the names on these? She said, no, I didn't. And I took one and I showed it to her. O.H. Perry. And we're like, cool. Oliver Hazard Perry. Belcourt Castle. That's cool. I get it. No big deal. Well, then I started looking at the names of the others. James Lawrence. David Porter. The drawing of David Porter, he looks like a Union naval captain standing on an old Ironside. Okay. So we start researching this stuff. Is there any connection? Who is James Lawrence? Well, come to find out, James Lawrence trained Oliver Hazard Perry and David Porter, who happened to become really good friends, lifelong friends, as sea captains. So I look into David Porter. We knew all about Oliver Hazard Perry already. Look into David Porter. David Porter was a naval sea captain out of, I believe it was Philadelphia. When the Union started moving south and set up camp in West Point, Kentucky, David Porter's boat was tied up right out back.
Oh, wow.
Jeez, wow.
Is that a weird synchronicity or what?
Yeah.
Think about all of those things. I mean, that's just,
Well, let's think about y'all's beginning and where you are now. It didn't, I mean, it started as nothing. Waverly brought you together. The whole, yeah.
Yep.
So everything has intertwined now.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything.
Always meant to be together.
Yeah. All this was it's all been predestined and preordained and
Right.
preplanned and all this. I mean, it's,
We've been together in every life.
yeah, like Denise is saying right now, she's over here mumbling. We've been together in many lifetimes, we feel, and
That's really strange. I have a man that tells me that all the time. He's told me that since we met. He is in his late 70s, early 80s now.
Mhm.
And who am I to tell him he's wrong? I'm not going to. He said, we messed up in our last lifetime, so we cannot be a couple in this lifetime. And I'm like, okay. And he says, I know this, I know this, I know this. I used to paint you. He was some kind of an artist and painted people naked, and apparently I was his woman. And I'm like, okay, normally I'd say, you've lost your damn mind.
right.
But I know this man, and he's amazing. I mean, he's a preacher in this lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay. He says, when I die, which is coming soon, I see it. I know it. And so does he. But he says, I'm going to move your dolls in front of your bed. So I know that I'm gone, but I'm still there with you. Because he has no family to tell me he's gone.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay. He says, but I'm going to watch you in that shower. Don't think I won't. I won't be scared. From the day he dies, I'm going to be scared to take a shower. But
We got peepers.
yeah. But, I believe him. I believe that there has been that connection for many lifetimes. We may not have been together. We may have been father, daughter, father, son, whatever the case might have been.
Right.
But you damn straight I have toured past life. I haven't toured this life. What are you talking about?
Yeah, tell that to Tom.
But, and it's Denny Murray. He's been on our show before. He stays really low key. He only posts on things in Colorado, things like that. But I believe him because I feel that connection that, but are we going to be together? Absolutely not. Not in this life. But,
Right.
I think we all have. I've been doing the Akashic records, and I think we all do have a choice, and it's predetermined what we're doing. We've made that soul contract.
Yeah.
Probably with the same person for many, many lives, no matter what aspect they play.
That's another thing, like I said, when I started this stuff, I was into ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a believer in reincarnation or anything, but now, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I say, the more you do this stuff, the more you experience. You can say the more you learn. Like I say, everything I learn, I just feel like I have more questions because of it. But the more it opens your eyes to all of the possibilities that are out there and just how vast and great this universe of ours is,
Absolutely.
Existence is,
Yeah. And, the minute we stop having our mind open, we're done.
Exactly.
That's when it's over. And I feel sorry for the people that do, there's only one way. This is all there is. Don't talk.
Right. I agree. I think that this three-dimensional world that we live in, to think that that's it, that's all there is. How boring is that? I mean, that's something that Denise and I say all the time. You got to believe in magic to a certain extent, and believe in the fact that there's. I mean, that's the basis of religion itself, is believing that there's more than this.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, so it's not anti-religion to say that. It's just a different view of it.
Yeah, and I think that's all it is. It's the same. The reality is the same. The constant is the same. It's the way everybody views it. And I think everybody opens their eyes at a different point in life, or maybe never in their life, and they need to try it again. But I mean, we don't know. But I'm willing to find out. The more I experiment with things, I'm like, okay, I'm okay with that. You know, I'm okay with it.
I agree.
Let's do it.
I agree. Let's see what else is out there.
Yeah. I'm not going to take my life to do it, but you know, okay. So I'm not scared anymore. Let's go.
Right.
Unfortunately, I hate to cut this short because I just heard from Jeremy that Myth or Mystery.
Of course you did. Jeremy, zip it.
Jeremy's mean to us. No, I was getting ready to say I need to go anyway because we got to get up and drive to Nashville in the morning. We got a daughter
Oh, no fun.
master's degree from Middle Tennessee State, so we're going down there for that. But
well, either way, I mean, Ernie, it's always a great pleasure to have you on. We'll definitely, obviously, we'll have you back on real soon. Of course, I'm sure with the other shows that I've been running, I'm sure we'll probably have you back on sooner or later. But we definitely got to keep in touch more often because it just seemed like it was several months ago. Last time we actually spoke.
Yeah, I thought you hated me and you'd forgotten all about it.
No, I promise you.
Before we go, next week,
yes,
we've got Nancy Timms on, and she's going to be talking about interdimensional beings.
I was just about to say, funny enough, with what you were talking about, Ernie.
That'll tie right in. Sunday night, you can catch Denise and I on Pac-Man Paranormal Live on the Get Haunted Network. We're going to have Brandon Alvis as our guest. So.
Awesome. That should be so fun. I love Brandon.
Yeah. He's a great guy.
He's also going to get you on his road for the 100th episode of 13th Dimension. Jeremy said. And also, I should probably just say this quick, too, for Myth or Mystery. This one I'm going to have to definitely check out because, according to Jeremy, it has a haunted cornfield in the title. I'm actually surprised they haven't had me on as a guest for that.
Go do that. Go do that. Nope. I'm gonna go relax. Ernie, y'all have a safe trip tomorrow. Denise, be careful.
Thank you so much. It's always a good time, folks. We love y'all.
Definitely.
We love you.
We'll
Have a
see you
good
again
night.
real soon. Everybody, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.